I've been driving lorries for 11 years. Long haul, mostly. Nights mainly. You learn to be comfortable with silence out there. The motorway at 2 in the morning is a different world. Just you, the road, and the occasional set of headlights in the opposite carriageway. Most drivers I know hate the night runs. The isolation gets to them. The monotony. I never minded it. There's something honest about an empty road at night. No traffic, no noise. Just the engine and the white lines disappearing under the cab. I was running a load up north, picked it up from a depot outside Birmingham just after midnight. Standard delivery. Nothing unusual. I had the CB radio on low. Old habit. Most drivers don't use them much anymore. Smartphones killed the CB, but I kept mine. There's still the odd transmission out there on the quiet nights. Other drivers. Occasionally a recovery vehicle. Sometimes just static that sounds almost like a voice. That last part matters. Remember that. I was somewhere on the M6, northbound, about an hour and a half into the run. The static on the CB shifted. Not dramatically, just a change in texture. Like someone had moved closer to a microphone somewhere. Then a voice came through. Male. Calm. Slightly distorted by the signal, but clear enough to understand. He said, "Anyone northbound on the 6 tonight?" Standard CB opener. Nothing unusual. I picked up the handset and answered. Told him I was northbound, running light freight, heading up past Preston. He came back immediately. Said he was running the same stretch, heading north, big load, agricultural machinery. We chatted for a few minutes. Road conditions, weather, the usual. His signal was strong, but had an odd quality to it. A slight crackle underneath everything he said, like the transmission was traveling further than it should. I didn't think much of it. CB signals do strange things at night. Atmospheric bounce, signals carrying further than expected. I asked him whereabouts he was on the road. He said he'd just passed the Cawley services. I noted that, filed it away, kept driving. We talked on and off for maybe 20 minutes. He was easy to talk to, knew the roads well, had clearly been doing this a long time. He mentioned his regular routes, Birmingham up to Glasgow, same run most weeks. Said he'd been doing it for years. He mentioned his company, a haulage firm I didn't recognize. Mentioned his depot, a location that didn't immediately ring any bells. I asked about the Cawley services, whether the new car park extension was finished yet. He paused. Then he said he didn't know anything about an extension. Said the services looked the same as always to him. I assumed he just hadn't noticed. Building work blends into the background when you drive the same road every week. Then he mentioned a transport cafe, just off junction 15, he said. Good bacon rolls. Open all night. I knew junction 15 well. There was no transport cafe there. There hadn't been one for as long as I could remember. I let it go initially. Maybe he was misremembering. Maybe he meant a different junction. Night driving does things to your memory. Landmarks blur together after a few hours. But then he mentioned another one. A truck stop just north of Cannock. Independent place, not a chain. Said he used it every run. I knew that stretch of road well. There was nothing there. Hadn't been for as long as I could remember. Just motorway and dark fields on both sides. I told him I wasn't sure what truck stop he meant. He described it in detail. The layout, the signage, a particular pothole in the entrance that had never been fixed. Specific details, too specific to be invented. But the location he was describing didn't exist. Not anymore, or not yet. I couldn't tell which. I asked him what year his cab was. He told me, a model that hadn't been manufactured since the early 90s. I don't know why I did what I did next. Call it instinct. Call it unease that had been building for 20 minutes, finally reaching a point where I needed an answer. I asked him his name. He told me. First name only. A common enough name. Nothing remarkable. But something about the way he said it. The slight pause before it. Like he was remembering it, rather than just saying it. I asked him his surname. Another pause. He gave it. I didn't recognize it in the moment. It meant nothing to me. We talked for a few more minutes. He said he was starting to lose the signal. Said the stretch north of Stafford always did this to him. Said, same spot every time. Like the road just swallows the signal. Then the transmission broke up. Static. Then nothing. I finished the run. Delivered the load just after 4 in the morning. Grabbed a coffee, sat in the cab before the drive back south. I don't know what made me search his name. I typed it into my phone. The results came back immediately. There was a news article, local paper, digitized from print, published in November 1994. A lorry driver had gone missing on the M6 northbound, last seen at the Corley services, running agricultural machinery up to Glasgow. The name in the article matched the name he had given me. They never found the lorry. They never found him. The investigation concluded that he had simply vanished somewhere on that stretch of motorway between Stafford and Preston. No accident, no breakdown, no trace, just a driver who had been on the road one night and then wasn't anymore. I sat in that cab for a long time, reading the article over and over, looking for a different explanation. I still do the night runs. I don't know how to stop. It's all I know. But I don't use the CB anymore. It sits in the cab, still mounted where it's always been. I just don't turn it on. I've thought about that conversation a lot since then. The transport cafe that doesn't exist. The truck stop that isn't there. The cab model from 30 years ago. He wasn't frightened. That's what stays with me most. He sounded like a man on a routine run. Comfortable. Settled in for the long night ahead. Like he had no idea anything was wrong. Like the road he was driving still existed exactly as he remembered it. And maybe for him it did. Maybe it still does. Somewhere on that stretch of the M6 northbound, in the static between transmissions, a driver running agricultural machinery up to Glasgow. Same road, same night, still going. Passenger file number 012. Boarding time 2:19. Status received. The train moves on, and some passengers never really leave. Next stop, unknown.